Returns of Examsnet. Welcome to the question series of Examsnet. Students, you must have explored our website www.examsnet.com. This site is a great place for you to practice your entrance exam question papers because here you will find so many entrance exam question papers along with their detailed PDF solutions, and you must download our app. The link is available in the description box for the better preparation of your exam. So today, students, we will be solving JEE Main 2024 8th April Shift 2 paper. So in this particular video, I'll be solving the physics part of the paper. So starting with the very first question of this physics series, that is question number 31. A block is simply released from the top of an inclined plane as shown in the figure above. The maximum compression in the spring when the block hits the spring is, okay. Student, first of all, this question is from the chapter of work, energy and power. Work, energy and power, okay. So in this question, we have to find the maximum compression in the spring. So first of all, we are given that there is a mass of 5 kg and it is sliding over this inclined plane. The frictional constant mu is equals to 0 here, and it is covering a distance of 2 meter, and when it slides down this inclined plane, it hits this spring and this spring experiences a compression. We have to find the compression of this spring, okay. So in this case, the total work done will be equal to the net change in the kinetic energy, okay. So first of all, when the block starts from rest, so initially the kinetic energy is 0, okay, and when it hits the spring and when it reaches the maximum compression, at that time the block comes to rest eventually. So at this time also the kinetic energy is 0. So the change in kinetic energy will be final minus initial, means it is equals to 0. Now net work done. Net work done will be equals to, this is the block of mass 5 kg. So downward force acting will be equals to Wg in the downward direction plus the frictional force which is acting like in this direction. So W frictional force plus the spring constant, that is half kx square, okay. Half kx square means the work done by the spring. So Wg will be equals to, it will be equals to mgh, okay, and frictional force will be equals to minus of this mass of the block into mu frictional constant into g, mu mg, okay, and this will be multiplied by this displacement x, okay. So it will be like this, and minus half kx square, it will be equals to 0. So mass is 5 kg, gravitational constant is, let us say, 10, and height. We will find here the height h by using sine theta. Sine theta is equals to perpendicular over hypotenuse. So here perpendicular is h, hypotenuse is 10, and sine 30 is 1 by 2. So h will be equals to half into 10 equals to h. So h is 5 here. So 5 into 10 into 5, minus of mass is 5, mu is 0.5, g is 10, and x, okay. The displacement minus half kx square, half kx square, okay. Now simplifying it, so we get 250 is equals to 25x plus 50 x square. So we get 2x square plus x minus 10 is equals to 0. Now factorizing it, so we get x is equals to 2. So our answer is x equals to 2 meter. That is option B. Now next question 32. In a hypothetical fission reaction, 92x 236 is converting into 56y 141 plus 36z 92 plus 3r. The identity of emitted particles r is, okay, we have to identify what is this r. So this question is from the chapter of atomic and nuclei physics. Atomic and nuclei physics, okay? So the reaction is like this. 92x236 is converting into 56y 141 plus 36z92 plus 3r. Okay, so this is the LHS part of this reaction and this is the RHS part of this fission reaction. Okay, so in LHS, total Z is equals to 92 in LHS. Okay, and Z in RHS is equals to this 56 plus 36 and it is equals to 92. Okay, and mass number A in LHS is equals to 236 and mass number A in RHS is equals to 141 plus 92, means it is equals to 233. It means 3 neutrons are released. Okay, in RHS 3 neutrons are released. So from the given option, the correct answer is option C, that is neutron. So this R is neutron here. Okay. Now next question 33. If E naught is the permittivity of free space and E is the electric field, then E naught E square has the dimensions of. So this question is from the chapter of units and measurements. Since it is asking for the dimensions now. So E naught given as permittivity and E is the electric field, we have to find the dimension of E naught E square. Okay, first of all, the electric field E is equals to K Q over R square, where K is equals to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, and E will be equals to, for this using here, 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q over R square. Okay, and we know that E naught is the permittivity of free space, so we can write here this epsilon naught, or we can say here E naught. Okay, so we can write it as epsilon naught is equals to Q over 4 pi R square into E. Okay, now we have to find this E naught or epsilon naught, we can say E naught into E square. So E naught into E square will be equals to Q over 4 pi R square into E square. So this one power cancels. So we get Q over 4 pi R square into E. Okay. Now finding its dimension. So we can write E naught E square is equals to this dimension of QE over, since 4 pi is a constant, so we have to write the dimension of R square. So we can write it as dimension of charge into dimension of electric field over dimension of this radius square. Okay. Since for charge, we can write it as, let us say, Q over R square into, okay, this is electric field E na. So in place of electric field, we can write it as W over Q into R. Okay. So this will be equals to, this Q will cancel out this Q and this will become W over R cube. So W, for W we can write the dimension of ML square T minus 2, and for radius, radius is a length, so we can write it as L cube. Okay, so this will be equals to M L minus 1 T minus 2. So the dimension of epsilon naught E square R M L minus T minus 2. So the correct option is option B, ml minus 1 t minus 2. Now next question 34. The position of the image formed by the question is 34. The position of the image formed by the combination of lenses is, okay. So first of all, this question is from the chapter of optics. So in this question, we have to find the position of image formed by all the three lenses. Okay, so let us start with the first lens. For first lens, F1 will be 10 centimeter plus 10 centimeter according to sign convention. U1 will be minus of 30 centimeter according to sign convention. Now using the lens formula, 1 over V1 minus 1 over U1 equals to 1 over F1. Okay. So 1 over V1 will be equals to 1 over U1 plus 1 over F1. By substituting the values here, 1 over V1 is equals to 1 over minus of 30 plus 1 over 10. So solving it, we get V1 is equals to plus 15 centimeter. Okay. So for the first lens, image is formed at a distance of 15 centimeter from the right of it. Okay. So this image behaves as a object for the second lens. This V1 will behave as an object, means U2 for the second lens. Okay. Now for second lens, f2 will be from the figure, f2 is minus of 10, u2 means this v1 will act as a object for the second one na. So u2 will be this 15 minus this 5. Okay, 15 minus 5, so it will be plus of 10 centimeter. And again using the formula, 1 over V2 is equals to 1 over F2 plus 1 over U2. So just put the values. So we get 1 over V2 is equals to 1 over minus of 10 plus 1 over 10. So from this we get V2 equals to infinity, means the real image is formed by the second lens at infinite distance, and this image will act as an object for the third lens. Okay, means U3 will be V2. Okay, now for the third lens, F3. F3 is this plus 30 centimeter according to sign convention, and F3 is plus 30 centimeter. U3 is infinity from here. Okay. So again using the formula, 1 over V3 equals to 1 over F3 plus 1 over U3. So 1 over V3 will be equals to 1 over 30 plus 1 over infinity. And 1 over infinity is what? 0. So V3 will be equals to plus of 30 centimeter, means the final image will form at a distance of 30 centimeter to the right of the third lens. Okay. So it means the correct answer is 30 centimeter right of the third lens, means option A is the correct answer. Now next is 35. A plane progressive wave is given by y equals to 2 cos 2 pi 330 t minus x meter. The frequency of the wave is. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of electromagnetic waves. We have to find the frequency of the wave. So we are given with y equals to 2 cos 2 pi 330 t minus of x meter. Okay, so comparing it with the standard equation, y is equals to a cos omega t minus kx. So from here we see that omega is equals to, we know that omega is equals to what? 2 pi f. Okay, so 2 pi f means it is given as 330 uh 2 cos 2 pi. Okay, comparing it with this na, so 2 pi will be multiply here, so omega will be 2 pi f. So here f is this 330. Okay, because 230 will come here. Now comparing this omega with this 2 pi into 330. Okay, so this will be 2 pi into 330. So as we see that this f frequency is 330, means option B is the correct answer. Now 36, a thin circular disk of mass m and radius r is rotating in a horizontal plane about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane with angular velocity omega. If another disk of same dimensions but of mass m by 2 is placed gently on the first disk coaxially, then the new angular velocity of the system is. So this is from the chapter of rotational motion. We have to find the new angular velocity. The first angular velocity is omega, and after that we have another disk having same dimension, means mass m and radius r. Sorry, mass is m by 2 and radius is r, and it is placed on the first disk. So it is something like this. Let us say this is the first disk. and its radius is r and its mass is m, and another disk is placed over it whose mass is m by 2 and radius is same. Okay, mass is m by 2. So we have to find the new angular velocity of the system. So the new angular velocity will be find by using this formula. I1 omega 1 will be equals to I2 omega 2. So I1 omega 1 is equals to I2 omega 2. Since omega 1 is omega, so we can write I1 into omega equals to I2 into omega 2, and we know that I, moment of inertia, is mr square. Okay, since it is a circular disk, so it will be m by 2 r square, na? So in place of I1 we can write m by 2 um, r square into omega, and it will be equals to this I2 is m by 2 r square into 3 by 2. Okay, because the mass is becoming half of the previous one. Okay, into omega 2. So from here m by 2 cancels, r square cancels. So omega 2 will be equals to 2 by 3 into omega, previous one. Okay, so the correct answer is C, 2 by 3 omega. Now 36, a cube of ice floats partly in water and partly in kerosene oil. The ratio of volume of ice immersed in water to that in kerosene oil, specific gravity of oil, kerosene oil is given as 0.8 and of ice is given as 0.9. So this question is from the chapter of properties of solids and liquid. Okay, so firstly, this question is based on the buoyancy force. Okay, it based on the concept of buoyancy. So using the property that the force applied by the water and the kerosene equals the weight of the ice. Okay, the force applied by the water and the kerosene, okay, it is equals to the weight of the ice. So we'll use the concept of buoyancy here. Okay, now solving it, um it is something like this ki we have data as given in the question, like specific gravity of kerosene given as 0.8 and of ice is given as 0.9. Okay, so the density of kerosene oil rho will be equals to 0.8 into 100, sorry, into 1000, not 100, into 1000. So it will, rho will be equals to 800 kg per meter cube. Okay, let us say this is equation number 1, and for a specific gravity of ice it is given as 0.9 na. So the density of the ice will be, rho will be equals to 0.9 into 1000. So it will be equals to 900 kg per meter cube. Let us say this is second. Okay, so let the volume of the ice in the water be x meter cube. Okay, and the volume of the ice in the kerosene be y meter cube. This is of water and this is of kerosene oil. Okay, now let the volume of the ice in the kerosene oil be y meter cube na. So the weight of the ice will be, x plus y into 900 kg. Okay, let us say this is equation number 3. So now, according to buoyancy property, the force applied by the water and the kerosene equals the weight of the ice, as I have told earlier. So the equation will be here. Total buoyancy force will be this x into 1000 kg plus y into x into 1000 kg plus y into 800 kg. Okay, let us say this is equation number 4. So this equation 3 and 4, we will equate these two equations to find the volume of the ice immersed in water and the volume of the ice immersed in kerosene oil. Okay, so equation 3 equals to equation 4 means x plus y into 900 will be equals to x into 1000 plus y into 800. Okay, so this will be equals to 900x plus 900y will be equals to 1000x plus 800y. Okay, so further calculating it, we get 1000x minus 900x, it will be equals to 900y minus 800y. So 100x will be equals to 100y, means we have x equals to y, means from this equation we see that the volume of the ice immersed in water is equals to the volume of the ice immersed in kerosene oil, means the ratio of the volume of ice immersed in water to that of the kerosene is 1:1, means option D will be the answer of this question. Now 38. Given below are two statements. Statement 1 is the mean free path of the gas molecules is inversely proportional to square of the molecular diameter. And statement 2 is average kinetic energy of the gas molecule is directly proportional to average temperature of the gas. This is from the chapter of kinetic theory of gases. And student, we know that there is a direct formula for the mean free path, and this direct formula is lambda is equals to RT over under root 2 pi d square NAP. Okay, and the kinetic energy formula we know that F by 2 nRT. Okay, so we see that wavelength lambda is equals to RT over root 2 pi d square Na into P. So the mean free path of the gas is inversely proportional to square of the molecular diameter. Okay, it is square of the molecular diameter. So statement 1 is correct. And the second statement is kinetic energy of the gas is directly proportional to absolute temperature of the gas. Absolute temperature of the gas. So both statement 1 and statement 2 are true. So option D is the answer. Now 39. Two satellite A and B go round a planet in circular orbit having radii 4r and r respectively. If the speed of A is 3v, so the speed of the B will be. Okay, so this is from the chapter of gravitational. So we know that the two satellites, let us say this is the planet and satellite A and satellite B, they are revolving around this planet in circular orbit. The radii of A is given as 4r and the radii of B is r. So if the speed of A is given as 3v, speed of B, so we know that V is equals to under root gm over r, the very basic formula. So V is inversely proportional to what? R, na? So using this formula, VA over VB will be equals to under root of RB over RA. So RA is 4R and RB is R. So it will be 1 by root 1 by 4 means 1 by 2. So VB will be, so from here, VB will be equals to 2VA. Okay, and VA is given as 3V. So VB will be equals to 2 into 3V. It means 6V is the answer. Means option C. Now 40th question. A long straight wire of radius A carries a steady current I. The current is uniformly distributed across its cross section. The ratio of the magnetic field at A by 2 and 2A from axis of the wire is. Okay. So it is from the chapter of magnetic effects of current and magnetism. Okay, so we are given a long straight wire and this wire is of radius A. Okay, and it carries a steady current I. The current is uniformly distributed across its cross section. The ratio of the magnetic field at A by 2 and 2A from the axis of the wire. Okay, from the axis of the wire at A by 2 and 2A. Okay, since we know that the formula B for this, it will be B1 into 2 pi into A by 2 will be equals to mu naught into I by 4. Okay, since we know that from Ampere's circuital law, integration of B dot dl equals to mu naught I, na? So B, let us say for A by 2 distance, it is B1 into dl. dl is 2 pi L. Okay, so 2 pi and the distance is A by 2 equals to mu naught I. So when the radius is A, at that time the current is I. So when the radius will become A, so when we take the distance A by 2, at that time the current will become 1 by 4. So B1 will be equals to this 2 will cancels out each other, so it will be equals to mu naught I over 4 pi into a. Let us say this is equation 1. Now for 2a distance, b2 into 2 pi into 2a, it will be equals to mu naught into current I. Okay, so b2 will be equals to mu naught I over 4 pi a. Okay, so the ratio will be this is second. So B1 over B2 will be equals to 1 over 1, means the ratio will be 1:1, means option C. So question number 41, the angle of projection for a projectile to have same horizontal range and maximum height is. This question is from the chapter of rotational motion. Rotational motion. We are given that the angle of projection for a projectile to have same horizontal range and maximum height. So let us say this is an object which is thrown like this and it is forming a projectile path. So they are having same horizontal range and maximum height. Okay, so we know that the formula for this is u square sine 2 theta over g will be equals to u square sine 2 theta over 2g. Okay, so sine 2 theta over g and sine is, sorry, it will be sine square, not sine 2 theta, sine square theta over g 2g. So from this, if we do like this, 4 sine theta cos theta will be equals to sine square theta. Since this u square cancels, g cancels, and if we multiply this 2 here, so it will become 2 sine 2 theta, and we know that sine 2 theta is 2 sine theta cos theta, and here this is 2, so 2 into 2 is 4 sine theta cos theta, and this is sine square theta. Now this power cancels out this, so we get 4 cos theta is equals to sine theta. So 4 will be equals to tan theta. So theta will be equals to tan inverse 4. So the angle is, projection angle is tan inverse 4, means option B is the answer. Now next question 42. Water boils in an electric kettle in 20 minutes after being switched on. Using the same main supply, the length of the heating element should be from this to this times of the initial length if the water is to be boiled in 15 minutes. Okay, so at first the water is boiling in 20 minutes, and if we using the same main supply and the length of the heating so we have to increase or decrease the length from this to this times. Okay, so that the water boiled in 15 minutes. Okay, so we will use here the formula for power. So let us say we know that P is equals to V square over R, and we know that resistance and resistivity R equals to rho L by A. Okay, so now putting this here, so we get from here R is equals to V square over P na. If we put here R equals to V square over P equals to rho L over A, so we see that this power is inversely proportional to length. So P is inversely proportional to length. So means if for the two cases, so P1 over P2 will be equals to, since it is inversely proportional to length, means it will be like L2 over L1. Okay, so if since power depends on time also na, and it is inversely proportional to time, we know that, so it will be T2 over T1. So T2 is 15 and T1 is 20. So from this we see that L2 over L1 equals to 15 over 20. 5 4 is 20. So it means L2 is equals to 3 by 4 of L1, means the heating element, length of the heating element should be 3 by 4 time of the initial length L1. Okay, so it means the option 3 means it should be decreased by 3 by 4th of the initial length. Okay, now next question 43. A capacitor has air as dielectric medium and two conducting plates of area 12 centimeter square, and they are 0.6 centimeter apart. When a slab of dielectric having area 12 centimeter square and 0.6 centimeter thickness is inserted between the plates. One of the conducting plates has to be moved by 0.2 centimeter to keep the capacitance same as in the previous case. The dielectric constant of the slab is okay. So this question is from the chapter of electrostatic potential and capacitance. Electrostatic potential and capacitance. Okay. So in this question, we are given that there is a capacitor having air as a dielectric medium. Okay. Two conducting plates and their area are given, and a slab is placed between them. Okay. So we have to find the dielectric constant of the slab. Okay. New slab. So we will use the formula for the capacitance like C equals to epsilon naught A over D. Okay. So for the previous one, it will be C1 equals to epsilon naught A over D. And for the next one, it will be equals to epsilon naught A over this 0.2 plus D over K. Okay. Dielectric constant of the slab K. So we have to find this value of the K, since they are saying that they are same as in the previous case. So comparing C1 with C2, so epsilon naught A over D will be equals to epsilon naught A over 0.2 plus D over K. Now epsilon naught A cancels out each other. So 0.2 plus D by K is equals to D. So 0.2 and D is given as this 0.6 na 0.6. So 0.2 plus 0.6 over K is equals to 0.6. So 0.2, 0.6 minus 0.2 is equals to 0.6 K. So 0.4 will be equals to 0.6 K. So K will be equals to 0.6 over 0.4. So K is equals to 3 by 2. Okay. Means among the four options, 3 by 2. 3 by 2 means it will be equals to 1.50. Means option A is the correct answer. Now 44, a given object takes n times the time to slide down 45-degree rough inclined plane as it takes the time to slide down an identical perfectly smooth 45-degree inclined plane. The coefficient of kinetic friction between the object and the surface of inclined plane is, okay. So this question is from the chapter of kinematics. First of all, we have to find the coefficient of kinetic friction between object and the surface of the inclined plane. Let us say this is an inclined plane and the angle is given as 45-degree, okay? And let us say this length is L. So, let us say case 1. For first case, no friction. When there is no friction, so A will be equals to G sine theta. This is the very basic equation. So A is L. L is equals to G sine theta. Sine theta is uh, G sine theta na. Okay. We'll write it as 1 by 2 G sine theta into T1 square. Okay. So from here, T1 will be equals to under root of 2 over 12 over G sine theta. Okay. And for case 2, with friction. Without friction, A is G sine theta and L is 1 by 2 G sine theta T1 square. So for with friction, A will be G sine theta minus of mu G cos theta. Okay. And for here, L will be equals to 1 by 2 G sine theta minus mu G cos theta into T2 square. Okay. So for this, we'll get under root of 2L over G sine theta minus of mu G cos theta. It will be equals to uh it will be equals to N under root of 2L G sine theta. Okay, from here. So mu will be equals to, solving these two, this under root of 2l will cancels out each other, and this will remain 1 over under root 1 over g sine theta minus mu g cos theta equals to n 1 over under root g sine theta. So solving it, we get mu as 1 minus 1 over n square. Okay, this is the answer. Mu is equals to 1 minus 1 over n square, means option A is the correct answer. Now 45, a coil of negligible resistance is connected in series with 90 ohm resistor across 120 volt 60 hertz supply. A voltmeter reads 36 volt across resistance. Inductance of the coil is, okay. So this question is from the chapter of current and electricity. Current and electricity, okay. So in this question, we are given like this. This is inductance L. This is resistance R. And this is of 36 volt as given in the question. And alternating voltage of 120 volt plus over 60 hertz, okay. So we have to find the inductance of the coil, means we have to find the value of L. So for this, using the Ohm's law, V equals to IR, okay, means 36 equals to IRMS into R. And we know that IRMS is equals to this 120 over XL square plus R square. Okay, so put the value here. So 36 will be equals to 120 over under root of XL square plus R square into R. So when we solve it, and in the question we are given R as 90 ohm na. So just put here 36 equals to 120 into 90 over under root of XL square plus R square. So under root of XL square plus R square is equals to 120 into 90 over 36. So solving it, we get 12 and it will be 10, means 300. So under root of XL square plus R square is equals to 300. So R is 90 na. So under root of XL square plus 90 square will be equals to 300. Now squaring both sides, we get XL square plus 90 square equals to 300 square. So XL square will be 90000 minus 8100. So XL square will be 81900. So XL will be equals to 286.18. And we know that this XL is what? Omega L na. So from here, L will be equals to XL over omega. So XL is 286.18 over omega. Over omega na. So for here, the omega will be this will be 376.8. Okay, omega will be 376.8. Now L will be, since we know that omega is what, 2 pi f na. So 2 into 3.14 into f. Frequency is given as 60 hertz. So that's why we have written 376.8 here. So solving it, we get L equals to 0.76 Henry. Okay. So from the above 4 options, the option 1, that is 0.76 Henry, is the correct answer. Now 46, there are 100 divisions on the circular scale of a screw gauge of pitch 1 mm. With no measuring quantity in between the jaws, the zero of the circular scale lies 5 divisions below the reference line. The diameter of a wire is then measured using this screw gauge. It is found that the 4 linear scale divisions are clearly visible, while 60 divisions on the scale coincide with the reference line. The diameter of the wire is. So this question is from the chapter of units and measurements. Units and measurements, okay. So from here we can write least count is equals to 1 over 100 mm. It is equals to 0.01 mm, and zero error will be 0.05 mm, okay, plus of 0.05 mm. So reading will be, as in this case, is equals to this 4 into 1 mm, okay, plus 60 divisions into least count 0.01 mm minus this zero error 0.05 mm. So solving it, we get 4 mm plus this 60 into 0.01 means 0.60 minus 0.05 mm. So it will be like 4.55 mm. So the correct answer is option B, 4.55 mm. Now 47. A proton and an electron have the same de Broglie wavelength if Kp and Ke be the kinetic energies of proton and electron respectively. Then choose the correct relation. So this question is from the chapter of atomic and nuclei physics. So we are given with a proton and an electron, and they are having same de Broglie wavelength. We know that the relation of de Broglie wavelength is lambda equals to h over p, where h is the Planck's constant and p is the momentum. According to question, lambda of proton is equals to lambda of electron. Okay. So if Kp and Ke be the kinetic energies of the proton and electron respectively, and we know that kinetic energy is what? P square over 2m, na? Means it is related to the momentum by P square by 2m. So if Kp and Ke be the kinetic energy of protons and electron, Kp, let us say, of proton, so it will be Pp square by 2m, and Ke is of electron, so it is Pe square over 2m. So if lambda P is equals to lambda E, then these will be equal na. So let us say this is PP and PE. So H over PP will be equals to H over PE. So from here, HS cancels out. So PP will be equals to PE as given in the question. So since PP is equals to PE, so it means that kinetic energy of proton means Kp will be less than kinetic energy of electron. Okay. So the correct answer is option D. That is kinetic energy of proton is less than kinetic energy of electron. Since, why is it so? Since the kinetic energy depends inversely to the mass, na, and more mass means less kinetic energy. So here the kinetic energy of proton is less than kinetic energy of electron, means the, since, why is it so? Since the mass of proton is greater than the mass of electron, that's why the kinetic energy of proton is less than the kinetic energy of electron. Now 48, least count of a vernier caliper is 1 by 20 n centimeter. The value of one division on the main scale is 1 mm. Then the number of divisions of the main scale that coincide with n divisions of vernier scale is. Again, this question is from the chapter of units and measurements. So we are given that least count is equals to 120 n centimeter, okay, and we know that least count is equals to 1 main scale division minus 1 vernier scale division, okay. Now let us say x be the number of divisions of the main scale that coincides with the n divisions of the vernier scale, okay. X number of divisions of main scale coincide with n number of divisions of the vernier scale. So from here, one vernier scale division will be equals to x into 1 mm over n. So 1 over this 1 over this 2n, sorry, not 2n, 20n, na, 1 over 20n centimeter will be equals to 1 mm minus this x into 1 mm over n. So from here, we can write it as 1 over 20. Acha, if we write in terms of millimeter, this is also millimeter, this is also millimeter. Now, if we write in terms of millimeter, this will be 2. So 1 over 2 and mm will be equals to 1 mm minus x over n mm. So from here, x will be equals to 1 minus 1 over 2n. Okay. So solving it, we get x is equals to 2n minus 1 over this 2n. Okay. Acha, here 1n is also there. So this n cancels out. So we get x equals to 2n minus 1 over 2. So the correct answer is x equals to 2n minus 1 over 2, means option B is the correct answer. Now 49, if m naught is the mass of isotope 5b12, mp and mn are the masses of proton and neutron, the nuclear binding energy of isotope is. Again, this question is from the chapter of atomic and nuclei physics. Okay. We have to find the nuclear binding energy. We know the formula for binding energy is delta mc square. Okay. And binding energy here in the case will be 5 into mass of proton plus 12 minus 5, 7. So 7 into mass of neutron minus m naught into c square. Okay. So the correct answer is option A. 5 into mass of proton plus 7 mass of neutron minus m naught c square is the correct answer. Now 50th question. A diatomic gas whose adiabatic constant means gamma is given as 1.4 does 100 joule of work in an isobaric process. The heat given to the gas is. So this is from the chapter of kinetic theory of gases. Okay. So we know that for isobaric process, work done equals to P into delta V, and it will be equals to nR delta T from ideal gas equation, and it is given as 100 joule. Na? And we know that from first law of thermodynamics, Q is equals to delta U, means internal energy, plus W. So delta Q will be equals to, and we know that this is equals to F by 2 nR delta T plus W. W is nR delta T. So here we can write F by 2 plus 1 nR delta T is equals to delta Q. Okay, and nR delta is 100 joule, na? So F by 2 plus 1 into 100 joule. So it is equals to, and it is 1.4, na? So F will be equals to 5 by 2 plus 1 into 100. And heat is given as, we have to find the heat, na? No, heat is not given. So solving it, we get 7 by 2 into 100. So it will be 7 5 so 35, 350 joule. So the heat is 350 joule. Option A is the correct answer. So the next question, 56. Two slits are 1 millimeter apart and the screen is located 1 meter away from the slits. A light wavelength 500 nanometer is used. The width of each slit to obtain 10 maxima of the double slit pattern within the central maxima of the single slit is. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of wave optics. So we are given that, let us say this is the slit, light is coming from here. This is monochromatic light and its wavelength is given as lambda equals to 500 nanometer. This coherent light or monochromatic light passes through the slit. So as given in the question, D means distance between the slit. It is given as 1 millimeter and it is located 1 meter from the screen. Let us say this is the screen in which the central maxima minima patterns are forming. So the distance between slit and the screen, capital D, it is given as 1 meter. Okay. And we the width of each slit to obtain 10 maxima of the double slit pattern. Okay, so we have to find the width. Okay, so n equals to 10 means 10th maxima. So for this we will write n lambda d over d equals to n is 10 na, so it will be equals to 10 lambda d over d. It will be equals to 2 lambda d over a. Okay, so for this a will be equals to this lambda d cancels. 2 5s are 10, so a will be equals to d over 5, and d is given as small d is given as 1 millimeter now, so it will be 10 into 10 to the power minus 4 meter over 5, so it will become 10 to the power minus 3 over 5. It means it is equals to 1 over 5 into 10 to the power 3. 1 over 5 means 0.2 into 10 to the power minus 3. So it will be equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 4. So the width of this slit is 2 into 10 to the power minus 4. Okay, so here 2 into 10 to the power minus 4 is the correct answer. Now question 57. An object of mass 0.2 kg executes simple harmonic motion along x-axis with frequency of 25 over pi hertz. Okay, at the position x equals to 0.04, the object has kinetic energy 0.5 joule and the potential energy is 0.4 joule. We have to find the amplitude of the oscillation. Okay, so this question is from the chapter of oscillation and waves. Oscillations and waves. Okay, so we know that total energy is equals to sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy. So total energy is equals to kinetic energy plus potential energy. Okay, as given in the question, at x equals to 0.04 meter, at that time total energy will become sum of kinetic plus potential. Kinetic is 0.5 and potential is 0.4. So 0.5 plus 0.4, it will be equals to 0.9 joule. Okay, so total energy is equals to, for this harmonic motion, it is equals to 1 m omega square equals to a square. Okay, and it is equals to 0.9 joule. Okay, so it will be equals to frequency is given as 25 over pi hertz and omega is equals to 2 pi f. Always remember, if we are given with the frequency and we have to find the omega, so omega is equals to 2 pi f. So, and mass is given as 0.2 kg na, so it will be equals to, sorry, it is 1 by 2 m omega square a square, so it will be equals to 1 by 2 into m. 0.2 into omega square means 2 pi into f means 25 over pi. This is whole square into a square. And we have to find the amplitude 8 now. So into a square, and it is equals to 0.9 joule as we have calculated. So solving it, we get 0.1. So 0.1 into this pi cancels into 25 into 250. 50 square means 2500 into a square, it is equals to 0.9. So a square will be equals to 0.9 over 0.1 into 2500. This will cancels out. So a square will be equals to 9 over 2500. Solving it, we get a is equals to 0.06 meter. In terms of centimeter, a equals to 6 centimeters. So this is our final answer. Okay. So our answer is amplitude is amplitude is 6 centimeter. 0.06 in terms of meter, and in terms of centimeter it is 6 centimeter. Okay. Now 58th question. A potential divider circuit is connected with a DC source of 20 volt. A light emitting diode of glow in voltage 1.8 volt and Zener diode of breakdown voltage 3.2 volt. The length of the resistive wire is given as 20 centimeter. We have to find the minimum length PQ to just glow the LED. Okay, so this question is from the chapter of semiconductor devices. Okay, so we are given P, Q, and R. There are two. This one is a diode, and battery is given as, means potential is given as is a DC source of 20 volt. Okay, so for this we can see that PR is equals to, okay, one more thing. This is 1.8 1.8 volt light emitting diode. So it is given as 1.8 volt, and this one is given as Zener diode of breakdown voltage is given as 3.2 volt. Now this is 3.2 volt. So we are solving for it, we get PR is equals to 20 centimeter as given in the question. Okay, so VPQ means the minimum length. We have to find the minimum length. Now for the minimum length, first of all we'll start with voltage. So voltage of PQ is equals to 1/4 into resistance of PR. Okay, resistance between PR. So it will be equals to L limit into PQ minimum. It is equals to 1/4 into resistance of PR. Resistance of PR will be 20. Okay, so it will be equals to 4 5 20 means 5 centimeters. So the length is 5 centimeter. Okay, means the distance between P and Q is 5 centimeter minimum distance. Okay, this 20 is given as this PR length of this, and it will be 4 5 20. So 5 centimeters is the correct answer. Now next question 59. A body of mass m thrown horizontally with velocity v from the top of the tower of height h touches the ground at a distance of 100 meter from the foot of the corner. A body of mass 2m thrown at a velocity of v/2 from the top of the tower of height 4h will touch the ground at a distance of. Okay, let us try to understand this question as, let us say this is of mass m and it is thrown like this. Okay, its velocity is v and its height is h. Okay, and it is given as this is of 100 meter. Okay, and again there is another diagram for which the mass is of 2m and the velocity is v/2 and the height is 4h. Okay, so we have to find the distance x. Okay, so for this we can write this 100 meter will be equals to v 2h over g. Okay, so and for this we can write x is equals to v/2 velocity under root of 2 into height is 4h over g. Okay, so this will be equals to x will be equals to v/2. Since it is 4, it will come out of the under root, so it will be 2h over g. This 2 cancels, so x will be equals to v under root of 2h over g. Okay, now comparing these two, 100 equals to 4 root 2 h over g and x equals to v root 2 h over g. So comparing it, we get x equals to 100 meter. Okay, this is our final answer. Now next question 60. A circular table is rotating with an angular velocity of omega radian per second about its axis. There is a smooth groove along a radial direction on the table. A steel ball is gently placed at a distance of 1 meter on the groove. All the surfaces are smooth if the radius of the table is 3 meter. The radial velocity of the ball with respect to the table at the time ball leaves the table is x root 2 omega meter per second. We have to find this value of x. Okay, so this question is from the chapter of rotational motion. Okay, so as given in the figure, this is the angular velocity omega, okay, with which the circular table is rotating. So for this we know that AC for circular motion is equals to omega square into x. Since a is the acceleration, so we can write it in terms of x like v dv over dx is equals to omega square x. Okay, now integrating it, so we get 0 to limit 0 to v dv is equals to, and now the steel ball is gently placed at a distance 1 meter on the groove and the radius is of 3 meters. So we'll take the limit from 1 meter to 3 meter. Okay, it will be omega square x into dx. So just integrate it, we get v square over 2. Since omega is constant, so omega square, this will be x square over 2. Okay, so v square over 2 will be equals to omega square, and the limit is from 1 to 3 now. Omega square, so it will be 3 square minus 1 square. Okay, so again simplifying it, we get v square over 2 equals to omega square over 2. 9 minus 1 means 8. So 2 cancels. So we get V is equals to 2 root 2 omega. So comparing it with that given in the equation, x root 2 omega meter per second equals to x root 2 omega. So this omega cancels. Root 2 cancels. So the value of x is 2. This is the final answer.